Welcome to Most Amazing Facts. Today we're looking at AskReddit. What's the stupidest way you've hurt yourself? I tried to throw a dart into the bullseye on a dartboard that was on the floor, but threw the dart right into my left foot instead. A bar where I used to live placed dartboards about a foot away from the woman's bathroom door. Dartboards that took regular metal-tipped darts instead of the plastic-tipped ones. Imagine a bunch of drunk people throwing darts while women are trying to walk into the bathroom. I was 8 years old and running home on my lunch break so that I could watch Inspector Gadget, which came on at noon. I decided it would be neat to look down at my feet while I ran, and next thing I know I've run full speed into a parked car. I think I laid like a dead body on the road for a good 5 to 10 minutes. It hurt so badly. I was late for my Inspector Gadget episode and never told anyone what happened. You were 8 years old with a lunch break? Your school allowed you to just leave? I thought I had nothing to add, but your stupid self-injury reminded me of mine. I was about 13, riding my bike home full speed after buying the newest release of Teen Beat, Teen Girl Heartthrob magazine. I was riding through a plaza, not in the parking lot, but in the walkway. A woman opened the door to the Family Dollar right into my collarbone. I was thrown off my bike and had to go to the ER via ambulance. My boy band pics had to wait. Alright, so my sister is only 1 year older than me, and when we were very young, me 3 and her 4, we were in the bath together. I guess my mom thought this way was easier. She left to get something, and my sister said that I should dive into the tub like a dolphin. Me, being the idiot toddler I was, decided that this was a wonderful idea and dove right in. Had to get 3 or 4 stitches and a lifetime of stories about it. I can hear the bunk from here. Imagine walking away for 5 seconds, hearing that satisfying thunk, a slash, followed by the banshee cry. As a security guard, I was running to deal with an issue and my flashlight came out of its pouch, went between my foot and the ground, stepped on it, and broke my ankle. Paul Blart? Hit myself in the hand with a hatchet. It was so cold I didn't notice until I looked down and saw the blood. When I was a kid, I was chopping wood, missed the log, and went straight into my rain boot. Drank from a glass bottle while walking. Knocked out a piece of my tooth. Also knocked out the S in glass. My dog jumped in my lap while I was drinking a beer and he chipped one of my teeth with the bottle. I couldn't even get mad. He was so adorable. When I was 13, I was walking down my street and there was a bee that landed on me right under my eye. In a brilliant move, I brain farted and punched myself in the face trying to swat it away. My sister did a version of this. She swung a loading shopping bag at a wasp which was flying between her and my mother. Missed the wasp, but not my mother, who had no idea what was going on and just thought my sister had lost her crap and whacked her with a heavy shopping bag out of pure spite. So mom rolled up her sleeves and set about my sister whilst I walked on as though I had never seen either of them in my life before. I was finishing up this intense jigsaw puzzle, which was on a low table, so I spent the entire night crouching on the balls of my feet. The next morning, my right foot turned purple and swelled up to the size of a large orange. I was on crutches for a couple of weeks. Wow, never thought of puzzling as an extreme sport before. I should warn my retirement-age mother. Excuse, but did you just say you ended up on crutches because of a jigsaw puzzle? I know it sounds very Looney Tunes, but I actually stepped on the head of a rake once and the handle hit me in the face. Annoyed sideshow Bob groaned. Life imitates art. Yeah, same. In my defense, it was in a very crowded shed. In my undefense, I did it twice. I gave myself a black eye in my sleep, rolled into the corner of the nightstand. I had a dream one night where the very end of it had me jump off a cliff. Cue a Wile E. Coyote second of time dilation where I realized I was now off the side of my bed, about to start heading down. I hit the floor to find I wrapped my neck in the tubing for my CPAP. Almost hanged myself. I went to take a plate of Totino's pizza rolls out of the microwave. The plate was so freaking hot that I dropped it. Molten cheese bounced up and was burning through my ankle. I went to stick my foot into the sink to run it under cold water as if I'm flexible to stand on one foot and get my leg up that high. I fell backwards and cracked my head like an egg. I had a 3rd-degree burn on my ankle, 2nd-degree burn on my fingers, and 6 staples to the dome for freaking pizza rolls at age 30. High risk, high reward. You'll get your pizza rolls next time. I believe in you. I wonder if I can jump high enough to hit the doorframe with my head. I wonder what happened next. I sneezed and had a sharp neck pain for a week after. This has happened more than once. I threw my back out sneezing once. That was not fun. My neck feels like crap after I yawn really hard sometimes. My brother was teasing me while I was doing homework. I think I was maybe 8 or 9 at the time. And after a few minutes, I snapped. Took my pencil, went to jab him with the eraser end so as not to hurt him too badly and to get him to shut up. To get a bit more force behind it, I decided to wrap my index finger over the other end. The end with the point. I'm sure you can guess what happened next. A lot of crying and a trip to the emergency room later, I had a pencil point being removed from my finger. Reminds me of the video of that fellow who tried to open a beer bottle with a bamboo skewer by smacking it in the bottom with his hand. When I was about 16, I was telling some story to my sister's boyfriend. I was rather animated about it and began to flail my arms about, until I hit the glass fixtures of her ceiling fan and showered glass upon myself. Part of the glass cut around my nose, and I began to rain blood. I was left with a nice scar and a decent story about situational awareness while speaking. Jumped from the roof of our house when I was 10 to see if it still hurts or if I'll survive. When I landed, it was like an electric shock on my feet. Yes, I survived, and yes, it was stupid, but when you're a child, you tend to brag about anything to your friends, so yeah, it did hurt like hell though. I did the same thing, except I used an umbrella instead of a parachute, and when my friend asked, does it hurt, I said no, so that he does the same. Well, I might die, but I've got to know, you know? Remember when your parents told you to tie your laces or you would hurt yourself? Well, they were right. I was that kid who ran with untied laces. I fell and instinctively put both my arms out. I landed on my right hand and managed to snap my forearm and dislocate my wrist. As I had dislocated my wrist before because I was accident prone, I attempted to pop it back in myself in panic. I can't describe the crunchy noise that my arm made or the pain I felt. I then had to walk to the nurse's office at my school and wait for my parents to pick me up. They didn't think it was that serious. At the hospital, the x-ray was a little extreme, and I had to have surgery to correct my arm. 14 years later, and my wrist still isn't the same, and it still hurts in the cold. Life tip, tie your freaking laces. As a kid, I saw a rabbit on the other side of the fence, so I tried to climb over, knowing full well it was hot wire. Naturally, I fell off the wood between the wires and damn near electrocuted myself when I fell onto the wire. Never did get a hold of that stupid rabbit. That pesky wabbit. When I was 5, I was rushed to the ER twice in the same week. First, I slid down the banister as the door below swung open. I crashed headfirst into the corner of the door. Then 3 days later, I was playing on the radiator, slipped off, and smashed my head again. Doctors thought my parents were abusive, and there was an investigation over it, apparently. My brother was so accident-prone as a child. Still is, actually. It started with stupid stuff as a baby. Ate a bulb from a poisonous plant while in his walker, fell off the deck at the babysitter's house, young cousin was bouncing him on our knee, and he tipped forward and hit the coffee table, and just progressed from there. Lots of stitches, a couple of broken bones, a concussion. There was definitely one doctor's visit where he was separated from my parents, who were also separated from each other, and all were questioned. He's really, really just that clumsy or unlucky. My husband has decided, in hindsight, that it is because his feet are easily a size 13 and he's less than 6 feet tall. He practically has skis for feet. Happened 6 years and 3+ days ago. Was home alone early afternoon. Believed I was home alone. But then I heard a noise that I thought was inside the house. No one else should be home but me, so I was spooked. I crept out and listened for a movement and thought I heard a voice downstairs. I tried to sneak down the stairs, but only made it to the first step. By the second step, my heel slipped out from under me, and I planted hard on the step and slid down to the last 3 steps, finally able to stop. My shoulder was sore trying to save myself on the rail. My back is beat to hell from hitting all the steps down. My butt, my tailbone, is pulsing, nothing but pain. Trying to get up made it worse. Nothing felt broken. I was able to get up after a minute or so and baby step around the corner where I found the source. It was my neighbors talking in their backyard, and my brother had his window open, allowing it to carry into the house. For 5 years, if I sat longer than an hour, my tailbone, or coccyx, hurt. Watching movies, which I love, was always troublesome. I got seat cushions for it that I couldn't go without at home. About 7 months ago, it just stopped. No more pain. From another comment about it, a few months after the incident, I was diagnosed with kidney failure and was on dialysis for a month of shy of 5 years when I got a kidney transplant. Throughout my whole sickness, I talked about the injury with my doctors, had scans, and of course, detailed look because of the transplant. No fractures were found. At worst, I had a mini fracture. At best, the excess fluid was exacerbating it. After the transplant, I've taken it as a strong possibility that it finally healed thanks to no excess fluid hanging around. One of the small reasons I opted for peritoneal dialysis over hemodialysis. Real talk, check your posture. I took a heavy injury to my coccyx in my mid-teens. My body compensated by tilting my pelvis forward, which then caused the lower third of my back to essentially freeze. It doesn't hurt, but over time the risk of back injury only increases. Worth getting yourself checked out by a physio if you can. The voice was your future self trying to tell you not to go down the stairs. I was listening to music while getting ready to cook dinner and decided to use the frying pan as a mic. Did one of those look away from the mic to take a breath moments only to turn back dramatically, add a powerful lyric, and hit myself in the face with the pan. I can envision it and am impressed. Thank you for the visual. I was leaning over a fence post trying to bend straight a nail I just mishit and bent. Only rather than use the claw of the hammer, I used the face of the head of the hammer, slipped off, and smashed myself in the forehead. A good 15 years later, and I still have a scar on my forehead like a crappy Harry Potter. You're a wizard. Broke my foot kicking the tires of a car I was considering buying. How hard did you kick? I once went on my balcony to smoke a cigarette, only I forgot there was no balcony anymore because it was getting fixed. So I broke my leg falling 1 story down. Now the real irony was my mother wanted to fix the balcony because it was old and she was afraid it might break off and I might hurt myself. I hope someone watched you just walk out of a door into thin air, a story up. Heck, I wish I watched you do it, in like, a nice way. Damn it, Mom, don't ever move my smoke station again! Did you float in midair until you looked down and realized there was no floor? Buried at the bottom, so I'm safe. I was at work in a high-stress office complex in Virginia. The work made you eat quickly and often at your desk. I was eating a baby carrot and tortilla chips when all of a sudden I get stabbed with the edge of a chip midway chewing a carrot. Blood all down my throat. The chip was sharp, and I turned blue choking on baby carrots. Good times nearly getting killed by a chip and a carrot. Learn to slow down when eating. Not about me, but someone who sat next to me in class a while ago. She was clipping her toenails, and a big toenail flew up and hit her in the eye, and she had to go to the doctor because it cut her eye. So she has a bandaged eye for a while. Okay, I've had a similar experience. I was clipping my fingernails one time and one flew into the corner of my eye. Not too bad. My dad got it out with a toothpick. That's some carber right there for clipping toenails in class. Just realized I have one for me too. When I was in middle school, I was shaving my legs and then I brought the razor up to put it back on the shelf and I held it too close to my body and cut my nipple open. Hurt so bad. Didn't tell my parents or see a doctor, just had a swollen cut nipple for a while. OMG, I did this too. I didn't tell anyone. It's been 2 years, but it still hurts when I shower. I no longer have a toenail because the garbage was too heavy. I was taking the garbage out in sandals, but the garbage bag was too heavy to carry, so I put on my skateboard and rolled it down the street. The tip of my skateboard lodged under my big toenail and ripped it off. 3 faulty regrows later, I just don't have a toenail on my big toe anymore. I appreciate you answering this, but I'd still rather not have read that. Cut myself with a pretzel. Twice. The same pretzel? In high school, I was showing off with a staple gun and accidentally stapled myself in the chest. Then, when telling the story later, picked up a staple gun to demonstrate and accidentally did it again. I am not a clever person. At least you were consistent with your storytelling. I was being attacked by aliens in a dream. When they backed me into a corner, I kicked one hard in the head. I woke up immediately in pain. I just kicked my wall in real life. Badly sprained my ankle, couldn't walk properly for a week. The alien was probably so embarrassed that you owned him, so he implanted that memory of you kicking the wall instead of his big dumb alien brain. Wow, most of the responses here sound more painful than stupid, but your one must have made you feel pretty silly afterwards. If it makes you feel any better, I had a dream where a wasp flew up my nose, and when I swatted at it, it stung me. When I woke up, I had scratched my nose so bad it was cut and bleeding a bit. I think that's when I felt that I got stung. Nothing serious, but I can definitely see how you could hurt yourself so bad. Sleeping is more dangerous than people realize. Had one similar to yours. As a kid, we lived near an active set of train tracks. Being constantly warned away from them by our parents, it was no surprise we kids grew up with a healthy fear and frequent nightmares of getting caught on the tracks. I was about 12 years old, dreamt I'd stumble onto the tracks, and of course a huge freight train was bearing down on me. In the dream, my friend scampered to safety, but I was inexplicably bogged down and moving in slow motion, clawing at the dirt and gravel to try to get over the rail. In my last-ditch effort to reach safety, I dove for it. I literally flew out of my bed halfway across the room and cracked my head on the corner of my dresser. My mom patched me up and drove me to the hospital. Ended up with a few stitches and a big bowl of ice cream that night. Take your pick. 1, I burned the crap out of my hand on a go-kart muffler trying to help the neighborhood kid push it out of a ditch. Ended up with a blister 4 inches high on my palm. 2, I was running through the house, on tile, with socks. Inevitably, I slipped and had to catch myself on the couch. Unfortunately, I got my finger stuck between the cushions and broke my finger. Both of these happened in the same year. Torn rotator cuff through means of self-loving. Can't beat that. And that's the end of this Ask Reddit. What's the stupidest way you've hurt yourself? Let us know down in the comments what's the stupidest way that you've hurt yourself or one of your friends. And while you're telling us that down below, don't forget to hit the like button, get subscribed to Most Amazing Facts, and share this video with your friends so that everybody can make fun of how everybody else is dumb and hurting themselves. Thank you for watching this Most Amazing Facts video, and we will see you in the next one.